We have the mascot of the UzChess waiting there as Arjun Erigaisi enters into the game. He's taking on the top seed of the tournament, Nodirbek Abdusattorov, the current world number 4. And Arjun gets himself checked for fair play. Today, it's a big clash. You also see Hans Niemann entering in. Hans is going to play against Vidit Gujarati. Arjun is currently on 2.5 out of 4 with 1 win and 3 draws. He enters in and he's going to the last board there. What a clash we have between him and Nodirbek Abdusattorov. I think both of them excellent players, fighters. Arjun maybe more crazy on the board. Nodirbek slightly more positional, but both have immense fighting spirit. Arjun is born in 2003, while Nodirbek is born in 2004. He signs a few autographs. He's a big star in Uzbekistan, and he gives a fist bump to the mascot there of UzChess. And Nodirbek looks determined in this tournament. He's had a very steady start here. Just like Arjun, he also has 1 win in 4 rounds. Again, that win came against Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. And he comes in. A handshake. And Nodirbek, well, he wants to get himself some water. So he goes to the bar and picks up a couple of water bottles. I think the chess players have to keep themselves hydrated because they sit for long hours. This game could go on for as long as 5 to 6 hours. So handshake, and now we are ready to go. Let's see what Nodirbek chooses as his first move here. He goes pawn to c4, the English opening. And Arjun goes pawn to e6, c4, e6 on the board. Knight comes out to c3. And d5. We have the queen's gambit declined if Nodirbek plays d4, and he does. Pawn to d4, and you can play knight f6, but Arjun prefers to play bishop e7, so that now bishop g5 is not possible. Nodirbek is ready with his reply. He takes the pawn, c takes, e takes, and now brings his bishop out to f4. It's a good diagonal for the bishop to be on. And Arjun plays pawn to c6, delaying the development of his knight. e3 played, and black has a very ambitious move here, which is what Arjun plays, bishop f5. Now usually you don't want to trade, so you go g4 as one of the ideas, but knight e2 is another, so that you put your knight on g3, you hassle this bishop. Knight g3, bishop g6, h4. So knight comes to d7, and Nodirbek now brings his knight to g3, attacking the bishop. The bishop comes back, bishop g6, and h4 is possible here, but you have bishop takes h4, so bishop e2 first. And now a logical move for Arjun is to bring his knight, but he goes queen b6, attacking b2, queen d2. And I believe Arjun has a very concrete idea in mind, which is h5. So this queen b6, forcing queen d2, and then h5, h4, very interesting. Nodirbek plays h4. This does weaken the g4 square a bit. Knight comes to f8. So the knight is coming to the g6, e6 square. e4 played by Nodirbek. Whoa, what a move. If you take here, he wants to play maybe d5 even. Knight e6 by Arjun. He thinks and he plays this, and the point is if you take pawn takes pawn, he wants to take here and then take the pawn. So the bishop goes to e3, defending the pawn. And now knight f6. So Arjun starting to put pressure in the center. In fact, as early as move 13, he's already slightly better. And Nodirbek castles. It's getting wild now. I think black should also castle. And the main point to note is that pawn to e5 would not be good, because in such a position, the bishop opens up. But then again, after long castle, what else can you do? He goes e5. And now knight to g4, attacking the bishop. Plays it. Knight to g4. The bishop has to be given up, perhaps. I mean, bishop g4, h4 is very good for black. So bishop d3. And maybe king b8. He takes the bishop. Bishop takes d3. Queen takes d3. And now, because black is well positioned, king b8, he is angling for the move c5 to happen. There's also f6 break that you can think about. He comes back knight e2 and planning maybe to go knight f4. And Arjun goes c5. The point now is that takes knight a4 loses to bishop e3 check. So first king b1, but now Arjun can get c4. And maybe he doesn't like queen f5 here in this position, attacking this pawn. So he first goes g6, hoping that next move he can play c4. But now this gives Nodirbek a chance to equalize with d takes c5. If now bishop takes c5, you have knight a4. He still takes it. And knight a4 is kind of a must. If you play knight takes d5, I mean, I can move my queen away. It's possible. He plays knight a4, attacking the queen and the bishop. Arjun goes queen a5, attacking the knight. But now you take on c5. The material is even. It's difficult to say who's better here. But knight takes e5 is a weak pawn. So takes on c5. Now the queen is hanging. So queen c3. Yep, he plays it queen c3. But now queen takes queen. Knight takes. Arjun takes it. Queen takes c3. Knight takes on c3. And knight e3. Doubling the pawns on the e file. Fe3. Doubled pawns. The d5 pawn is a bit weak. But rook h e8. Attacking the e5 pawn. Rook f1. Putting pressure here. And now rook d7. Defending here. And now b4. Very important move. Because e5 pawn is hanging. He first gets rid of the knight. Knight a6. To put pressure on b4. If knight takes d5. There's rook e5. So he plays rook takes. I think taking here makes sense. Knight d5, rook e5. Yeah, he takes. So while Arjun gets back the pawn now with rook e5, and he's attacking the knight and the pawn, his f7 own pawn is a bit weak. So takes, rook e5, and e4, an important move. And now knight takes b4. The point here is after knight takes b4, there's rook b5 pinning. And that's what Arjun has seen. Rook b5. You have to play a3. Nodirbek plays it and a5. So Arjun gets back his piece, but Nodirbek will get back the pawn. And the players are moving towards quick equality ab4. a4 played to keep the b file closed. Rook to e5. And now rook f4, defending the pawn this way. g5 played. H takes on g5. Now rook takes g5. The g2 pawn is hanging. He plays rook f5, hoping for this king and pawn endgame, even though this is also a draw. But you can simply take on g2, rook h5, and it's equal number of pawns. The game is ending in a draw. A big fight by these two youngsters. In fact, very interesting opening idea that Arjun has come up with. I think Arjun showing some great opening ideas. A handshake there. It was like an unsaid draw offer by both. They just looked at each other and knew that we are okay with a draw. I must say that Arjun should be happy with what he got in the opening. Might be a bit sad that he couldn't put more pressure on Nodirbek. But one thing is clear, that Arjun has come to this tournament with a lot of hard work, lot of preparation, lot of new ideas, and hopefully he can back them up on the board in the remaining rounds. Nodirbek showed his great defensive skills and held Arjun to a draw. Both of them now on 3 out of 5 as we move to the last 4 rounds in the UzChess Cup Masters 2026.